I'm 90 years old, and if you're watching this, I need you to promise me something. Don't turn this off after 2 minutes, because what I'm about to say isn't sad in the way you think. It's worse. It's quieter than that. I've been in this nursing home for 5 years now. 5 birthdays, 5 Christmas dinners served at 4:30 in the afternoon. 5 springs I watched happen through the same window. People think they know what places like this are like. Lonely, depressing, full of forgotten people waiting to die. That's not quite right. The worst part isn't the loneliness, it's the slow erasing. Let me start properly. My name is Tom. I worked in commercial refrigeration for nearly 4 decades. I installed walk-in freezers for restaurants, grocery stores, butcher shops. Honest work, cold work, heavy work. I left before sunrise most mornings and came home smelling like metal and insulation. I bought my house in 1973 for $21,000, 3 bedrooms, squeaky stairs, big maple tree out front. I raised 2 children in that house. My wife Ellen planted roses along the walkway and complained every year about the weeds. Ellen died in 2018. Heart attack. Quick. One moment she was asking if I wanted tea, the next she was on the kitchen floor. The doctor said she likely didn't feel pain. People say that like it helps. After she passed, the house went quiet in a way I didn't know a house could. Not silent, just hollow, like sound didn't stick to the walls anymore. I stayed there 3 years alone. I told everyone I was fine. I could cook, I could drive, I paid my bills on time. I mowed the lawn slower, sure, but I did it. Then I fell. Ice on the driveway, taking the trash out. My hip cracked like a branch under a boot. Surgery, rehab, physical therapy. The doctor said I did well for my age. I hated that phrase. It means you didn't really recover. I walked again, but I never moved the same. And when you're 87 and you fall once, fear moves in with you. I stopped driving at night. Then I stopped driving in rain. Then I stopped driving at all. My son started coming more often. Groceries, yard work, fixing little things I used to handle myself. He never complained, but I saw the clock in his eyes. One afternoon, he said we needed to talk about options. Options is a soft word. It means your life is about to shrink. We toured 3 places, clean hallways, neutral paint, smiling staff, activity boards with bingo nights and chair yoga written in bright marker. I said I could manage at home. He said, "Dad, what if you fall again?" I said I'd be careful. He said, "That's what you said last time." And that was that. This place is called Pine Grove Manor. There isn't a pine grove. There's one tree in the parking lot that leans like it's tired. The first week here, I thought it was temporary. I kept expecting someone to say, "All right, Tom, you're healed up. Let's get you home." Nobody said it was permanent. Nobody said it wasn't. My first roommate was an 88-year-old man named Walter. He'd been here 7 years. 7. He told me something my second night. "Don't expect anything," he said. "Not the food to be hot, not the call button to be answered quick, not your family to visit as much as they promise." I thought he was bitter. He wasn't. He was accurate. Walter died one morning before breakfast. They closed the curtain. By lunch, the bed was empty. By dinner, someone new was in it. That's when it hit me. You don't stop existing here. You just get replaced efficiently. And here's the part nobody explains. You don't lose yourself all at once. It happens in pieces. They know my name. They know my room number. They know I take 2 pills in the morning and 1 at night. But they don't know I rebuilt carburetors on weekends. They don't know my daughter once won a spelling bee and cried because she thought second place meant failure. They don't know my son used to sleep with a baseball glove under his pillow. Those details disappear. There's a woman down the hall who tells the same wedding story every single day. Same words, same laugh at the same moment. I used to feel sorry for her. Now I understand. She isn't forgetting. She's preserving, because if no one remembers you were once a bride, were you? My son visits twice a month now. He used to come every Sunday. Life gets busy. I don't blame him. I really don't. But here's something you might not expect. The hardest part isn't when they don't come. It's when they do. We run out of things to say in about 10 minutes. He asks how I'm feeling. I say, "Fine." He talks about work. I nod like I understand the software he mentions. We watch television in silence. Then he says he should probably beat traffic, and I tell him I understand, because I do. I did the same thing when I visited my own father in a place like this back in 1992. I stayed just long enough to feel like a good son. That's how this cycle works. This place isn't cruel. The staff isn't mean. It's clean. It's organized. But it isn't living. It's waiting for the next meal, waiting for medication time, waiting for visiting hours, waiting for sleep, waiting for the end. And some people wait here 10 years. There's a man down the corridor who's 95. Sharp mind, reads the newspaper cover to cover, knows more about politics than anyone on television, but he cannot walk, cannot feed himself, cannot go to the bathroom alone. I asked him once what it feels like to be trapped in a body that stopped cooperating. He said, "You adjust to anything if you don't have a choice." That sentence sits with me at night, because he's right. You adjust to eating dinner at 4:30. You adjust to someone bathing you. You adjust to being checked on every 2 hours, like an appliance that might malfunction. You adjust. But adjusting isn't the same as accepting. And here's the part families never say out loud. When they drop you off here, there's relief. Relief that someone else is responsible now. Relief that they won't get the 2 a.m. phone call because you fell. Relief that they can go back to their lives. They feel guilty about that relief, but it's there, and I don't even blame them. Taking care of someone old is exhausting. I know that now. What I didn't know is what it feels like to be the one no longer needed. That's different from being unloved. You can be loved and still not needed, and that's where the real emptiness begins. And when you're no longer needed, time changes. It stretches. Mornings last forever. Afternoons disappear. Nights are the longest. That's when the building gets quiet, except for distant coughing and the squeak of rubber soles in the hallway. There's an aide here named Patricia. She's been working in this place longer than I've been living in it. 11 years. She remembers small things. That I don't like my eggs runny. That I get cold even when the thermostat says 72. That I prefer the chair by the window in the common room. Small things don't seem important until they're the only proof you're still visible. Last week, I overheard her talking to another staff member. Her daughter wants her to quit, says the pay isn't worth it, says it's too depressing here. I wanted to roll my wheelchair into that hallway and tell her not to leave. Not because I'm selfish, but because when someone remembers how you take your coffee, you feel human again. I didn't say anything. At 90, you learn to shrink your requests. You become grateful for everything. Grateful for clean sheets. Grateful for medication. Grateful for visitors. Grateful you're not worse off. Gratitude becomes mandatory. But underneath gratitude sits something else. Anger. Not loud anger, not dramatic. Just the quiet ache of being managed. Being told when to eat, when to sleep, when to shower, when to take pills, when to go outside. It's strange how life circles back. When you're a child, someone guides every step. Then you spend decades building independence, and at the end, it's handed back like you never earned it. I think about my daughter often. She visited 3 months ago, flew in for a conference, and stopped here for an hour before heading back to the airport. We took a picture in the lobby. She posted it online. People commented about what a wonderful daughter she is, and she is. She calls on holidays. She sends cards. She means well. But what stays with me isn't the photo. It's the memory of all the piano recitals I missed when she was young, all the overtime shifts I picked up, all the Saturdays I told her, maybe next week. I thought I was being responsible, providing, securing the future. Now I sit in a place where everything is provided. Meals arrive without effort. Laundry is done without asking. Bills are handled by someone else, and none of it feels like purpose. Ellen used to warn me. "You can't earn back time," she'd say. I nodded, then went back to work. "You think you have decades. Then one day you're 90 and decades feel like a rumor. Here's something I've noticed about this place. The saddest residents aren't always the sickest. They're the ones who still think clearly. Because when your mind works, you see the waiting, you see the routine, you see how easily a life can be reduced to a file folder in a cabinet. Room 214, male, age 90, fall risk. That's the summary. Not husband for 56 years, not father of 2, not man who worked through blizzards to keep grocery store freezers running, just fall risk. There's a difference between being cared for and being known. Being cared for keeps you alive. Being known makes you feel alive. And most of us here survive longer than we expected. Modern medicine is good at that, but survival without purpose stretches thin. Some afternoons I watch families touring this place. Adult children walking slightly ahead of their parents, staff smiling, brochures in hand. I recognize the look in the parents' eyes, confusion mixed with surrender, and I recognize the look in the children's eyes too, fear mixed with practicality. Everyone tells themselves it's temporary. It rarely is. If you're listening to me right now and your parents are still at home, still calling you to fix small things, still asking you how to reset the Wi-Fi, go. Go more often than you think you need to. Stay longer than feels convenient. Ask them questions you've never asked, not about their medications, about their lives, what scared them at 30, what they regret at 50, what they're proud of but never say out loud, because one day they'll be somewhere like this, and conversations become shorter, energy fades, memories blur, and then all you're left with are assumptions about who they were. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty. Guilt doesn't fix anything. I'm telling you because I finally understand something at 90 that I wish I understood at 40. The extra money rarely matters as much as the extra hour. The promotion fades, the house ages, the savings get spent. But the missed recital, the skipped dinner, the quick visit instead of the long one, those stay. You don't feel them when you're young. You feel them when you're sitting by a window in a room that isn't yours, watching seasons change without you. This place isn't evil, it's efficient, it keeps us safe. But safety isn't the same as living. Living is being interrupted because someone needs you. Living is being late because you stayed at the table too long. Living is noise and inconvenience and laughter you didn't schedule. Here, everything is scheduled, and that's the quiet tragedy. I don't know how much longer I'll be here, maybe months, maybe years. At 90, predictions feel foolish, but if there's one thing I want you to carry with you after this, it's this: the people you love are not permanent, and neither are you. Call them before you're efficient with your time. Visit before it becomes a duty. Sit longer than feels necessary, because one day you might be the one in a clean room with safe floors, waiting for someone to stay just a little longer. And no amount of money you saved will buy back 5 more minutes at the kitchen table. That's the truth nobody puts in the brochure, and now you know.